Don't overlook your pennies. Some 1988, 2001, 2004, and even 2007 Lincoln cents are worth way more than 1 cent. With rare mint errors, double dies, and unusual varieties, these coins have sold for hundreds or even thousands at auction. In this video, I'll show you how to spot the valuable ones hiding in your pocket change so you don't miss out on a fortune. It's a 1988 US 1 cent penny, the kind you've probably seen thousands of times before. But what you don't know, what most people don't even realize, is that some of these 1988 pennies carry a hidden error, an imperfection that has made them unbelievably rare and sought after by collectors. One of these coins, depending on its grade and the type of error it carries, can be valued between $44,000 and $125,000. Yes, that's right. A single penny, worth 1 cent at face value, has the power to completely transform someone's life. So how does a penny, struck in the millions at US mints across the country, go from being a common coin found in pockets and purses to being worth more than a luxury car or even a college education? The answer lies in the fascinating world of mint errors. While the US Mint is renowned for its precision and strict quality control, mistakes do happen. And when they do, collectors go crazy for them. The 1988 penny is famous for being tied to one of those legendary mistakes, specifically the transitional design error that turned an ordinary Lincoln cent into a numismatic treasure. To understand why the 1988 penny became so significant, let's take a quick journey back into coin history. The Lincoln cent had been around since 1909, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Over the decades, it saw changes to its composition and its design. By the 1980s, pennies were no longer made primarily of copper but instead of copper-plated zinc, a switch made to save the government money on production costs. But in 1988, something unexpected slipped through the cracks. Some of the pennies struck that year were made using a reverse die intended for the coins of 1989. This created what collectors call the transitional reverse error. At first glance, you might not notice it. To the casual observer, the penny looks like every other coin minted in 1988. But look closer, especially at the small details of the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial side, and you'll notice that the designer's initials, FG, representing Frank Gasparo, are shaped differently. That tiny variation is what makes all the difference. For collectors, these subtle design changes are like fingerprints, proof that a mistake occurred at the mint. And when only a small number of such coins exist, the rarity sends their value skyrocketing. Imagine finding one of these error pennies. You might not think twice about it. You toss it in a jar, maybe use it in a vending machine, or give it away as change without ever realizing its worth. But to a collector, that same coin could fetch between $44,000 and $125,000 at auction, depending on its condition. That's enough to buy a luxury SUV, put a serious down payment on a house, or even set aside for a child's future. This is why coin enthusiasts scour their change, why they spend hours with magnifying glasses and reference guides. It's the thrill of the hunt, the chance to find something extraordinary hidden in plain sight. The stories surrounding the 1988 transitional penny only add to its mystique. Auction houses have seen bidding wars break out over high-grade examples, with collectors eager to claim one of the rarest modern pennies ever released. Picture the scene. The auctioneer describes the lot, emphasizing the transitional reverse error, the crisp strike, and the preservation of the coin. Hands shoot up, numbers climb higher and higher, and eventually, the hammer falls. A coin once worth a single cent has just sold for more than $100,000. The room buzzes with excitement, while the lucky buyer leaves with a piece of history that will only grow in value over time. But let's not forget, this isn't just about money. For many collectors, owning a coin like the 1988 transitional penny is about holding on to a piece of numismatic history. It's a reminder that even in a system designed for perfection, mistakes happen, and those mistakes can create lasting legacies. Every time someone discovers one of these rare coins, it brings with it the story of how chance, timing, and a tiny overlooked detail at the mint combine to create something extraordinary. Condition plays a huge role in determining the final value of the coin. A circulated example, one that has been passed from hand to hand and bears scratches and wear, might still bring tens of thousands of dollars. But a mint-state example, carefully preserved and graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, can soar into six-figure territory. The difference between $44,000 and $125,000 often comes down to those fine details: luster, strike quality, and preservation. Now, think about your own pocket change. How many times have you glanced at a penny and dismissed it as worthless? How many 1988 pennies have passed through your hands without a second thought? This story is a wake-up call, a reminder that treasures can be hiding right under your nose. The next time you see a 1988 penny, take a moment to look closer. Pay attention to the reverse, check those designers' initials, and remember that history often hides in the smallest of details. Who knows? You might be holding a coin worth more than most people make in a year. The magic of the 1988 transitional error penny lies in its dual identity. On one hand, it's just a penny, one of the most common and overlooked denominations in US currency. On the other, it's a rare anomaly, a coin that challenges our perception of value and rarity. That's what makes it so captivating. It's proof that sometimes the smallest things in life carry the biggest surprises. For seasoned collectors, the 1988 penny is a crown jewel, a coin worth chasing for its historical significance and rarity. For beginners, it's a symbol of possibility, a reminder that even they could stumble upon something amazing. And for the everyday person, it's a source of wonder, because who wouldn't want to find out that the penny they've been carrying around is worth as much as $125,000. So the next time you're tempted to overlook the change in your pocket, think again. That 1 cent could be more than just a penny. It could be your ticket to something incredible. And as long as stories like the 1988 transitional reverse penny exist, collectors and treasure hunters alike will keep searching, hoping to uncover the next great discovery. After all, every great find begins with curiosity. A 2001 US 1-cent penny. You don't think twice about it, because why would you? It's a penny, the smallest denomination of US currency, and worth just 1 cent. Most people wouldn't even bother to pick one up off the ground. But here's the twist. What if I told you that some 2001 pennies, due to rare minting errors, can be worth an astonishing $38,000 to $115,000? That same coin you might drop into a vending machine without hesitation could actually be a life-changing treasure hiding in plain sight. This is the world of numismatics, where small details make all the difference. The 2001 Lincoln cent, featuring the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, was minted in the billions. On the surface, it's just another common coin. But errors, those rare, unintentional variations in the minting process, are what separate a regular penny from a rare, highly prized collectible. And when it comes to the 2001 penny, certain errors turned an otherwise ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Before diving into why the 2001 penny can fetch tens of thousands of dollars, let's take a step back to understand its place in history. By 2001, the Lincoln Memorial cent had already been in circulation for decades, since its debut in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. Unlike its earliest versions made primarily of copper, by the 1980s and into 2001, pennies were struck from a composition of copper-plated zinc. They looked the same, but the metallic makeup had changed dramatically. This change made the coins cheaper to produce, but also more prone to certain types of minting issues. That's what makes the 2001 penny special. It's the errors. These include off-center strikes, double die errors, and coins struck on the wrong planchets. Imagine a penny where the design is noticeably shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. Or a penny where Lincoln's face looks doubled, almost like it has a shadow. Or even a penny that was struck on a planchet intended for a dime or foreign coin. These errors are like genetic mutations. They're not supposed to exist, but when they do, collectors want them desperately. And because so few slip through quality control, their rarity drives their value through the roof. Now picture the excitement of finding one of these coins in your change. You turn it over and something looks odd. The lettering isn't quite right, the strike seems off, or maybe the coin feels lighter or heavier than usual. That's when you realize you might be holding something worth between $38,000 and $115,000. Think about that for a moment. A coin you barely noticed at first could cover the cost of a new car, a year's tuition at college, or even be the down payment on a house. This is the kind of discovery that has collectors and treasure hunters scouring every penny that passes through their hands. Auction houses have seen this firsthand. When a rare 2001 error penny goes up for sale, the bidding can get intense. The auctioneer begins describing the error in detail, the off-center strike, the clear doubling on Lincoln's features, or the dramatic planchet mix-up. Collectors know how rare it is and hands start flying. Bids climb higher and higher, and before long, a coin that was worth 1 cent when it left the mint is now being hammered down for $50,000, $80,000, or even over $100,000. The room buzzes with energy because everyone understands they've just witnessed the sale of a modern-day treasure. But beyond the price tag, coins like the 2001 penny tell us something deeper about history and chance. They remind us that perfection is rare, even in systems designed for precision. The US Mint produces billions of coins with incredible accuracy, but the few that come out with errors become legends in the numismatic community. They're symbols of imperfection turned into value, mistakes that people admire and are willing to pay dearly for. Collectors often talk about the thrill of the hunt, and the 2001 penny captures that perfectly. It's not just about having the money to buy one at auction. It's about the possibility that you could find one yourself. Imagine sitting at your kitchen table, dumping out your coin jar, and spotting a penny with something unusual about it. Your heart races as you grab a magnifying glass and compare it to reference images. And when you realize what you're holding, that penny transforms from spare change into a treasure worth $38,000 to $115,000. That feeling of discovery is priceless. Condition is another factor that plays a huge role in value. Coins that have been circulated and show wear might still fetch thousands, but uncirculated, mint-state examples are where the big money lies. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC assess these coins, examining their luster, strike quality, and any imperfections. A high-grade 2001 error penny, preserved in near-perfect condition, can reach that $115,000 mark, while a worn one might stay closer to $38,000. Either way, the jump from 1 cent to tens of thousands of dollars is staggering. Think about how many 2001 pennies have passed through your hands over the years. Maybe you used them for laundry, left them in a tip jar, or tossed them into a fountain to make a wish. What if one of them was one of these rare error coins? It's enough to make you want to go back and check every penny you've ever spent. That's the power of stories like this. They turn something mundane into something magical. The beauty of coin collecting is that it brings together people from all walks of life. Some are seasoned experts who have spent decades studying mint marks and die varieties. Others are casual hobbyists who just like searching through change. And then there are the lucky few who stumble upon a treasure without even looking. The 2001 error penny has the potential to connect all of these people, because it symbolizes the idea that treasure can be found anywhere, by anyone, at any time. Even the smallest details on these coins matter. The spacing of the letters, the angle of the strike, the doubling of an image, all of these tiny variations are clues to an error. And collectors are trained to spot them, much like detectives piecing together evidence. For them, owning a 2001 error penny isn't just about having a rare coin. It's about holding a piece of history, a tangible reminder of how something so small can carry so much significance. Now let's circle back to that moment in the grocery store. You hand over $1, get some change back, and glance down at a penny. Most people would slip it into their pocket without a thought. But you, knowing what you know now, might look a little closer. You might turn it over in your fingers, checking the details, imagining the possibility that this humble coin could actually be worth up to $115,000. That's the beauty of this story. It plants the seed of curiosity. It makes you wonder what else might be hiding in plain sight. The 2001 penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of opportunity, of chance, and of the incredible value that can hide in everyday objects. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who never gave much thought to pennies, its story is captivating. It reminds us to slow down, to pay attention, and to recognize that sometimes the most ordinary things can be extraordinary. So the next time you see a penny, don't dismiss it, especially if it's from 2001. Look closer, because that 1 cent could be worth $38,000, or maybe even as much as $115,000. And finding one could be the beginning of a story you'll tell for the rest of your life. Picture this for a moment. You're at home, maybe sitting at your kitchen table after a long day, sorting through some loose change that's been rattling around in your pocket. A penny slips through your fingers, one you've seen thousands of times before, small, copper-colored, and easy to dismiss. It's just a cent, right? Yet, that very penny in your hand could actually hold the power to change everything. Because among the billions of pennies struck at the US Mint in 2004, a handful were struck with rare, astonishing mint errors. And those errors transform what's normally worth just 1 cent into a collector's dream worth anywhere from $34,000 to an unbelievable $106,000. That's the story of the 2004 US 1 cent penny error, a hidden gem in the world of numismatics, and one that proves again how the smallest details can carry the biggest rewards. The US penny has been a staple of American coinage for over a century, and in 2004, it was still proudly carrying the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, first introduced in 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. On the obverse, of course, is Lincoln's timeless portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has been in place since 1909. By 2004, the penny was no longer the bronze alloy it had once been. Instead, it was struck from copper-plated zinc, a change that took place in 1982. These coins weighed just 2.5 grams, had a bright copper finish, and seemed utterly ordinary. Billions were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But among those countless pennies, the mint's machinery slipped up on rare occasions, creating mistakes that collectors now hunt for with an intensity that borders on obsession. Errors are the secret magic of coin collecting, because they aren't planned, they aren't expected, and they make each coin unique. The types of errors found on 2004 pennies vary, and each one tells its own fascinating story. Some were off-center strikes, where the die hit the blank planchet slightly askew, leaving part of the coin's design missing and a crescent-shaped blank space visible. The more dramatic the off-center, the more valuable the coin, especially if Lincoln's portrait or the word liberty is partially missing. Other errors included double strikes, where the coin was struck twice by the dies, leaving overlapping images of Lincoln's face or the Lincoln Memorial. There are even examples of broad strikes, where the coin spread outward because it was struck without the collar, giving the penny a warped, stretched look. And in rare cases, transitional or wrong planchet errors can occur, where the coin is struck on metal meant for another denomination entirely. Each of these mistakes was born out of a momentary slip in precision at the mint, but rather than being discarded, some slipped into circulation. And that's where the magic really begins, because it means these treasures are out there in the world, in the hands of ordinary people waiting to be discovered. A regular 2004 penny is worth 1 cent. But an error penny from that year? That's where things leap into staggering territory. Collectors and investors alike are willing to pay astonishing sums for the right piece. At auctions, certain 2004 penny errors have sold for anywhere from $34,000 to as high as $106,000. Just let that sink in. The smallest denomination in the American coinage system, usually ignored and left in couch cushions or parking lot pavements, can skyrocket in value to more than what many people make in an entire year. It's a reminder that in coin collecting, value doesn't always come from age or from gold or silver content. Sometimes it comes from rarity, from uniqueness, and from the human fascination with flaws. These errors are like frozen moments in history, tangible evidence of how even the most precise systems can falter. And because they're so rare, they carry stories that ordinary coins cannot. Now imagine this. You're emptying out a jar of change that's been sitting in your closet for years, and there at the bottom you spot a shiny 2004 penny. You pick it up, and something seems off. Maybe Lincoln's head looks like it's shifted to the side. Maybe the rim isn't quite where it should be. Or perhaps you notice doubling in the letters of "In God We Trust." You shrug at first, it's just a penny after all. But if that small detail means it's an error coin, then in that moment you're holding something worth $34,000, $60,000, maybe even $106,000. That's life-changing money, and it was sitting unnoticed all along. Collectors know this, which is why they pore over rolls of pennies from the bank, why they study pocket change with magnifying glasses, and why they follow auction news with anticipation. The thrill isn't just in owning an error coin. It's in finding one, in being the person who uncovers a treasure hiding in plain sight. That's what makes the 2004 penny error so captivating. It's not an ancient relic or a coin locked away in museums. It's a modern coin, struck in the millions, but with a handful of rare mistakes that make it as desirable as some of the rarest coins in history. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated and graded these coins, giving them credibility and adding to their market value. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that have been certified because they know they're genuine. The higher the grade, the less wear, the sharper the details, the higher the price. So while you could technically find one of these coins in circulation, the real treasures are the examples that were pulled early and preserved, their errors crisp and unmistakable. Those are the coins that push into the six-figure territory, captivating bidders at major auctions and leaving spectators stunned at how high the prices climb. It's also fascinating to think about how many of these 2004 penny errors are still out there. Coins move constantly through banks, businesses, and households. Some may be in the collections of those who spotted their uniqueness early on, while others could be hiding in change jars, piggy banks, or even in the drawers of people who don't realize what they have. That's part of the ongoing excitement of the hobby. The idea that treasure could be sitting just around the corner, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. And that's really what makes this story so engaging. It's about more than a penny. It's about discovery, about the thrill of finding value where no one else sees it. It's about how something as small and overlooked as a cent can remind us of the power of attention to detail. Because while most people will look at a 2004 penny and see nothing more than 1 cent, the collector who recognizes an error sees a pathway to $34,000, or even $106,000. That's the difference between glancing and truly seeing. So the next time you get change back at a store, take a closer look. Don't dismiss those pennies too quickly. Look at the date, study the details, and ask yourself, could this be one of those rare treasures from 2004? Because the answer just might surprise you. Somewhere out there, hidden in plain sight, is a coin that turns a single cent into something extraordinary. And maybe, just maybe, it could end up in your hands. This is the story of a 2007 US 1-cent penny error coin. A tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that has stunned collectors with its jaw-dropping rarity and extraordinary value. When we think of pennies, most of us shrug them off as almost worthless. But in the world of coin collecting, an error penny from 2007 has been known to fetch anywhere between $28,000 and $88,000, depending on its condition and type of error. Yes, you heard that right. Up to $88,000 for a single penny that you could easily overlook in your spare change. So how does something so ordinary become so extraordinary? The answer lies in the fascinating world of minting errors. The US Mint produces billions of coins every year, and while the process is highly precise, no system is perfect. Every now and then, an error slips through the cracks: double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, die clashes, and misaligned features. In the case of the 2007 1-cent penny, certain minting mistakes created coins that collectors now fight tooth and nail to get their hands on. To a casual observer, these flaws might look like imperfections, but to a seasoned numismatist, they are marks of rarity that can turn a single cent into a small fortune. Think about how many 2007 pennies were minted billions. Most of them were perfectly ordinary, used in everyday transactions, tossed into jars, or lost under couch cushions. But out of that ocean of pennies, only a tiny fraction carried the kinds of errors that make them worth thousands. Imagine being the lucky person to stumble upon one of these rare finds. Perhaps you're rolling up change to take to the bank, or maybe you spot something strange about the lettering or the image of Lincoln's face. The font might look doubled, the strike might be off-center, or the surface might reveal a strange, unintended design. Suddenly, you're not holding just 1 cent, you're holding something that could be worth $28,000 on the low end, and up to $88,000 at auction. Stories of these discoveries have fueled the imaginations of collectors everywhere. People have dug through old jars, combed through change from grocery stores, and even scoured coin rolls from banks in search of hidden treasures. One of the most thrilling aspects of coin collecting is that anyone can strike gold or copper in this case without ever setting foot in an auction house or antique shop. The 2007 Error penny is a reminder that history and value can hide in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by someone with a keen eye and a bit of luck. But what makes the 2007 Error penny so valuable? Let's break it down. First, there's the matter of rarity. Errors aren't supposed to happen, and when they do, only a handful make it into circulation before being caught. Second, there's demand. Collectors love error coins because they tell a story of imperfection in a system designed to produce perfection. Each error is unique, almost like a fingerprint, which means no two coins are ever exactly alike. That uniqueness drives up the competition and, in turn, the price. And when you hear figures like $28,000 to $88,000 attached to something as small as a penny, the buzz only grows louder. Think about the journey of one of these coins. Struck at the US Mint in 2007, it likely passed unnoticed at first, moving through cash registers, wallets, and pockets. Maybe it bought a piece of candy, helped pay for a newspaper, or got tossed into a fountain as someone made a wish. Years later, it ends up in the hands of someone who notices something unusual about it. That small detail, maybe a doubling of Lincoln's profile, a missing letter in the inscription, or an odd misalignment, sparks curiosity. Research confirms what they suspect. They found a genuine mint error, and suddenly that penny's destiny changes forever. It's pulled from circulation, carefully preserved, and eventually appraised. Then comes the auction, where collectors drive up the bidding until this once overlooked coin sells for tens of thousands of dollars. What makes the story even more exciting is the possibility that you might have one of these coins without even knowing it. The year 2007 wasn't all that long ago, and millions of those pennies are still circulating today. It's entirely possible that you've used one of these rare error coins in the past, slipping it into a vending machine or handing it over at a coffee shop, completely unaware of the fortune you were passing along. That thought alone is enough to make anyone want to start checking their change more carefully. The 2007 penny also serves as a reminder of the importance of preservation. Many error coins lose significant value if they're damaged, worn, or improperly cleaned. Collectors emphasize the importance of leaving coins in their original state, never polishing them, never trying to fix their flaws. Those flaws are the very reason they're valuable. A coin in pristine condition with a clear, visible error can fetch closer to $88,000, while one that's heavily circulated might still bring in $28,000 but won't reach its full potential. Condition, rarity, and demand all intertwine to determine the final hammer price at auction. Beyond its monetary value, the 2007 Error penny captures something deeper about the human fascination with rarity. We love the idea that the smallest, most ordinary things can turn out to be extraordinary. It's why people hunt for rare stamps, baseball cards, or even misprinted books. There's something magical about owning a piece of history that slipped past the quality control of a massive institution like the US Mint. It feels personal, like uncovering a secret that only you and a handful of others know. And for coin collectors, that thrill is worth every penny. And in this case, much more. So the next time you spot a 2007 penny in your change, don't be so quick to toss it aside. Look closely. Examine Lincoln's portrait, check the inscriptions, and study the edges. You never know. You could be holding a piece of metal worth $28,000 or more. And if by chance you stumble upon one in pristine condition with a dramatic error, you might just be holding the $88,000 prize that collectors dream about. What's amazing about this story is how it turns our perception upside down. Something designed to be worth the smallest unit of currency can transform into a life-changing treasure. A penny becomes a symbol of luck, rarity, and opportunity, proving once again that value is often hidden in plain sight. Whether you're a serious collector or just someone curious about the change jingling in your pocket, the story of the 2007 Error penny is one that captures the imagination and keeps the hunt alive. Because in the end, it's not just about the coin itself. It's about the excitement of discovery, the possibility of stumbling upon something remarkable, and the stories that connect us to our past. That's why collectors are willing to pay $28,000 to $88,000 for a coin most people would overlook. It's a reminder that even the humblest penny has the power to surprise us, delight us, and change the way we see the world.